Shout it out loud! Dare to be stupid! I can't hear you! Dare to be stupid! Okay, I can hear you now! Dare to be stupid! Let's go! Dare to be stupid! 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 Dare to be stupid!
Before engaging this presentation's main topic, perhaps it's first in order to examine the theories of idiocy and electrate participation by which this work is framed and motivated. First, my video is in part inspired and informed by Gregory Ulmer's affirmation of the heuristic and educational possibilities of idiocy, a word which is suggestive of the literacy of editing and storytelling techniques through video.
Indeed, the word itself can be thought of as a portmanteau of the words literacy, i.e. alphabetic, and text-based learning, and video, i.e. the digital film of moving images. Videocy, however, operates quite a bit differently than literacy, and Gregory Ulmer especially emphasizes videocy's heuristic capacity.
Further, video's unique ability to simultaneously inform and entertain the viewer often in turn inspires such a viewer to his or her own participation and invention in response. So feel free to mash up or remix this video. Furthermore, it is for the manner in which videocy encourages a special kind of engagement and participatory response that in his book, Electracy, Gregory L. Ulmer's Text Shop Experiments, Ulmer is confident when he says, quote, "Video may be said to be the technology of heuristics, heuresis, heuretics," end quote. It is in this heuristic spirit, then, that this video is presented.
Further, in sight of how videocy's heuristic efficacy is largely derived from video's way of inviting the inventive participation of its viewers, it's impossible to think of this kind of digital exchange without thinking of social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and the subject of this video, Twitter. By their very nature, these Electrate platforms encourage a participatory culture of curiosity, invention, association, memes, mashups, and remixes.
However, for all the heuristic and participatory power of our video culture, as well as the larger social economy of which it's a part, sometimes participants' embarrassing online responses to various hot-button topics have serious and far-reaching consequences. For example, in her book Participatory Composition, Video Culture, Writing, and Electracy, Sarah J. Arroyo points to a case in which one Alexandra Wallace, a student at UCLA, posted an anti-Asian video on YouTube titled Asians in the Library.
Demonstrating that some additions to our video culture's discourse can be toxic, Wallace in the video complains of how, quote, hordes of Asian people, end quote, crowd the UCLA campus and fail to use, quote, American manners, end quote. Further, Wallace complains of allegedly loud Asian cell phone users in the library, with Wallace impersonating one such student to shrill and racist effect.
Oh, 经常令人听痛. Oh.
Yeah, well, needless to say, Wallace's video received a large and sustained backlash, one which compelled Wallace to drop out of college. Of course, this example may well function as a case study of the nearly countless examples in which a person goes online, says or does something in the eyes of our culture scandalous or in poor taste, and for that action pays dearly, whether personally, professionally, or, as is often the case, both.
Thus, for the curious way in which no small number of civilians and professionals alike seem so flippantly gaffe-prone when it comes to communicating in the Electrate world, perhaps Arroyo really is correct when she suggests that, quote, idiocy and videocy may be inexorably linked, end quote.
However, it is the thesis of this video to slightly remix this line idiocy and idiocy may be inexorably linked, to a form inclusive of online participants' blunders and faux pas in an alphabetic or text-based format. And specifically, I'm thinking of one which calls for 140 characters or less. It's Twitter, in case you haven't guessed.
Exhibiting no fewer displays of idiocy than those of YouTube, Twitter's users are, at the very least, more succinct in their stupidity. Credit where credit's due. Despite the smallness and concision of a tweet, however, such a compact form may, no less than Amanda Wallace's racist video, bode just as destructive to a tweeter's personal and professional life.
Thus, it is in sight of the fact that an offending video may be no less destructive than an offending tweet that my presentation seeks to reconfigure Arroyo's suggestion that idiocy and vidiocy may be inexorably linked to idiocy and Twittiocy may also be inexorably linked. In the following part of this video, I will explore the truly Twittiotic tweets of two high-profile persons, each representing different personal and professional walks of life. In addition to considering the dramatic and costly results of these tweets, whose authors likely never planned on incurring any great backlash, it is part of the thesis of this video to suggest that the phenomenon of Twitter gaffes and faux pas is more broadly in expression, like Arroyo's example of idiocy and vidiocy, of humans' tendency to ignore that old saw, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. Of course, however, in today's online world, people's idiocy is writ especially large, even if only in 140 characters or less.
Oh, yeah!
In the case of Gilbert Gottfried, veteran comedian and voice actor, we could only expect such a loud performer, known for his caustic voice and raunchy sense of humor, to say envelope-pushing things on Twitter, even Twittiotic things. However, Gottfried demonstrated that even a comedian has his or her limits when in March 2011 a large earthquake triggered a great tsunami on the coast of Fukushima, Japan, an event which led to what's now known as the Fukushima nuclear disaster, as a local nuclear power plant, along with much of its surrounding town, was submerged in floodwater to horrifying and costly results. The catastrophe claimed the lives of over 1,600 Japanese, according to one piece from the Japan Times. Nonetheless, Gottfried felt compelled to tweet a litany of jokes about the disaster, which, in the minds of many Twitter and other social media users, stretched the limits of good taste.
He writes, Japan is really advanced. They don't go to the beach comes to them.
Incurring no small amount of dismay and anger, online pushback against Gottfried's Fukushima-themed jokes eventually cost the comedian his lucrative deal with Aflac Insurance as the voice of the company's quacking mascot. Another tweet, another Twittiot. Gilbert Gottfried, as with so many other comedians on Twitter, fell victim to a crushing and unanimous online reaction. Gottfried was in effect tried and convicted in the court of Twitter and social media, whose jurors found him guilty of racist and defamatory jokes about the Japanese and making light of a deadly natural disaster.
The answer is I did not send that tweet. My system was hacked. I was pranked. It was a fairly common one. People make fun of my name all the time. When you name Weiner, you kind of get that.
In the case of Anthony Weiner, perhaps his last name says it all. Indeed, that Weiner, former U.S. congressman and one-time candidate for mayor of New York City, was very publicly investigated for his internet porn addiction and online seduction of sex partners, as well as the disturbingly carefree manner in which he shared photos of his, wiener, to potential female partners, made him the butt of many riffs on his comically apt last name.
However comical, though, central to the crisis at the time dubbed Weinergate, in which media and political authorities pressed Weiner for disturbing details about his private sex life, was Weiner's idiotic, or is that Twittiotic, use of Twitter. From the social media platform, Weiner allegedly direct messaged a photo of, as many rendered it in the media, quote, his crotch, end quote, to a 21-year-old student from Seattle, Washington. Unfortunately for Weiner, the picture was leaked shortly after sending it to his presumably not-so-tight-lipped Twitter gal pal. However the photo was leaked, it was leaked, and the resulting clamor to see Weiner's, well, you know, was one of prying fascination, gasps of disbelief, and, of course, hearty laughter.
The only thing that Anthony Weiner and this gentleman here appear to have in common is that they both lean hard to the extreme left. Boom! Boom!
Eventually, the pressures of Weinergate proved too much for the politician. Despite shows of contrition and promises of better conduct, Weiner is now no longer a sitting congressman, and New Yorkers tendered a resounding "forget about it" to his bid for mayor of the Big Apple, all because of Weiner's Twittiotic misuse of a social media platform.
So, what might we learn from considering these two high-profile cases of Twittiocy? 1. A beloved if crass comedian tweeted the untweetable, and in so doing lost a lucrative job with Affleck, as well as the respect of many on or offline. The other, a promising and charismatic New York politician, in effect threw away his career due to his recklessly indiscreet pursuit of sexual partners, many of whom he direct messaged and kept in contact with by way of Twitter.
One important consideration is that these two particular figures would likely have entered similar troubles regardless of their status as Twitter users. Twitter, or for that matter any social media platform, is merely a tool, if a very powerful one. To remove Twitter from the lives of Gottfried or Weiner would likely still find Gottfried joking inappropriately, even if in a smaller venue, such as a nightclub or at a dinner table, and Weiner still aggressively seeking sexual partners regardless of whether he uses a computer or social media to find them.
And that point leads to this presentation's second and final consideration, and that is when Twitter is present and in use, the platform seems to have a way of drawing out and amplifying existing character flaws in its users. Thus, if for instance you're already a crass jokester who delights in upsetting people with envelope-pushing comedy, the instinct to challenge and shock audiences is made all the more tempting as one makes use of a powerful social media platform like Twitter, where access to many thousands, and even millions, is well within your reach. Similarly, if like Weiner you're already a sex-obsessed womanizer with little self-control or regard for your own career, such a reckless drive, on or offline, can only lead to ruin. However, the speed and publicity with which your ruin befalls you is multiplied exponentially the moment you start using Twitter as a glorified extension of an already philandering lifestyle. All this is to say that if you're not an idiot offline, you're probably not a twittiot online. If though you're an idiot offline, well, you can probably guess what you are online. A twittiot. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you have nothing good to tweet, don't tweet at all. That includes you, Kanye.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.